Welcome to the Mind of Business Success podcast. I'm your host, Alicia Kramer. Our guest today is Ken Braun. Let's talk about how to amp up your business. Welcome to the show, Ken.
Thank you very much, Alicia. It's really a pleasure to be here to be talking with you.
Let's make it a pleasure for all of our listeners by sharing some stuff that is going to help them to grow, to expand, to get new clients, new customers, bring in more revenue, all that fun stuff. But before we get into that, I want to start by talking a bit about your business. So can you tell us about Lounge Lizard?
Sure, I'd love to. So we just celebrated, Alicia, our 25th anniversary. Founded the company in 1998. We are a full service digital marketing company. So there's two sides to there's the website design and development on an enterprise, small business and small, medium, and large businesses, whether that be e-commerce, brochureware, right? And then we have the digital marketing side where we drive traffic to websites through search engines, social media, targeted media, really reaching the very niche end customers that you're looking to reach, align with their KPIs and business metrics, and we create a strategy for growth from that.
So that all sounds very technical, but very technical. But it's always an interesting conversation when we start to talk about the huge amount of people marketing social media services, SEO services, really all different types of online marketing services. And a lot of people take this sort of either we are the king or queen of this particular tactic, learn this tactic, and it's going to explode your business. You're going to go from the 6 figures to the 7 figures, in 30 days or whatever. But then you get into some deeper conversations with real marketing veterans like yourself. And then we start to actually recognize it's never about a tactic. It's always about a strategy and then implementing those tactics. And I think it's a conversation worth having right from the get-go, because no matter how many times people hear it, we are human beings and we all have that tendency. We want the easy button. We want the magic pill. We want maybe there really is that miraculous thing. Maybe that doctor selling that bottle of pills really did crack the code on weight loss, even though we know better, right? We know it's not just a magic bullet, but there's that, we all want it. We want that. So let's talk about that.
Well, here's the thing with digital marketing. I do see those ads all the time. You see them in your Facebook feed, you see them on Instagram, you see them on YouTube, how they're going to blow up your business and all that. So here I have a very simple philosophy, and it's really kind of how I started Lounge Lizard and how we grew so fast. Is I truly believe in one is you have to look at reverse engineering competition for one. You have to look at who are you going to be competing with? What are they doing? What are they saying? Where are they, right? And then what you have to do is you have to come up with a strategy that counteracts theirs at the same time that creates I call it an emotional response with consumers. A lot of times with digital marketing, it's just marketing for marketing's sake. Someone will say, oh, hey, this is a really cool graphic. And it's a bouncing ball or whatever. And it's just really cool. And it's 3D and it's great. Okay, but how is that one resonating with your unique selling propositions of your product? Have you looked at the competition? What is the differentiation? And most of all, where you're spending your money, and here's how people get burnt, is they'll spend all this money on marketing. And the marketing agency, or maybe the solopreneur or the entrepreneur or whoever it might be, a freelancer that's doing this work, is not measuring the cost per lead and ultimately the cost per acquisition of a customer. We call it the CAC. So it's a very simple philosophy. So if you're selling $100 product, that marketing person better know what your margins are. If someone's not asking you what your margins are and what you're willing to spend to get a customer, then marketing is not being done correctly. It has to be done in a smart way where it makes financial sense. So if you're selling something for $100 and it costs you $50 to make it, including all of your revenue, you got a spread there of $0 to $50. So you're ideally probably going to want to spend about $10 at the most, maybe, to get someone to buy $100 product. So now that makes financial and logical kind of sense. But the problem is a lot of marketers are just taking the media money or the marketing money, throwing it out there, getting a lot of clicks. Hey, we got a lot of clicks. Got a lot of clicks. Great, a lot of impressions, a lot of shares. But what about the return on ad spend? What about the ROI? Where is that? I just spent $500 to sell something for $100. That doesn't kind of make sense. Or sometimes it's $1,000 to sell something for $100. Well, you got a customer. You can build on that relationship. That doesn't work for me. What works for me is a mathematical, logical business sense mind of spending X and getting an X ROI. And when you do that, it doesn't happen right away, Alicia. You have to test messages to make sure that you're resonating emotionally with the consumer, whether it be B or B or B, C. You have to resonate with them. You have to create the competitive differentiation because in today's world, right, everyone is clicking, they open up tabs, they're looking at everybody else, they're comparing, they're looking at everything, aggregating all this information. So you have to make that sale within the 7 seconds. I call it the 7-second rule. It's the 7-second rule. You have to make that sale. So if you're not creating that emotional connection and something that's memorable, that connects, right, you're not going to get the interest, and therefore you're not going to be getting the ROI metrics of what makes sense, which is cost per acquisition of a customer. So now a client might say, and we've had a lot of clients at Lounge Lizard that said, hey, we really just want demos. Demos is our KPIs. And we always ask that question, what is your KPI? What is your success metrics, right? In the case of e-commerce, it's a sale and all that. But some clients might say, it's demo. It's a demo. We want a demo of our SaaS product. Our SaaS product goes for about $50,000 a year. So we're willing to spend, because we asked the question, for a demo of a qualified customer, we're willing to spend up to $1,000, to make $50,000. So knowing those metrics, we're able to make really strategic buys, knowing that mathematical formula. And that's what really bugs me a lot, Alicia, is a lot of, especially small businesses and medium-sized businesses too, they're not dealing with people that are talking about financial dollars and cents. Money in.
You brought up a couple of things. You brought up a lot of things, but you brought up a couple of things. When someone is handing off the responsibility of marketing their business, that often comes with the beliefs that I'm just not good enough at this. I don't have time for this. This is, and so there is like handing your child off to somebody who just puts up an ad and says, I'm a babysitter. A really loving, attentive parent, a concerned, conscientious, not overly worrisome parent is going to do their due diligence to make sure that they are putting their child in a safe environment.
Sure.
And yet, here we are as business owners. In many cases, we're just, oh, it sounds really good. Oh, look at how many likes they have on their post, right?
Yeah.
And I learned a long time ago that even if you do delegate your marketing, you need to know enough about it to be making intelligent decisions.
Yes.
So for those listening who've been burned or are afraid of investing in marketing, what guidance do you have as the veteran digital marketer that you are, who's seen a lot of things?
Well, I got to tell you, it's really about starting small. If anyone's going to sell you on a big budget, to start with a big budget, run, run. It's about starting small and getting to that number that I just talked about, that return on ad spend, or that ROI number. And it's only then where you start to invest a little bit more and a little bit more. In Lounge Lizard, I mean, I started Lounge Lizard on a $50 investment, $50, $50, and made $1 million in 1998 within a year, because I started small. I tested like little links, little sponsorships, and I tested it because I measured the ROI. So you have to, one is start small and get to that number where your ROI makes sense as far as your spend to what you're making. That's number one. Number two, you must know your competition, what they're doing. So lounges, I know what everybody's doing. I know what all my competitors are doing. I know what they're saying. I know where they advertise. And if I find a place that they're advertising, I'm not advertising in, I'm spending the money, I'm gonna advertise. But I'm gonna test. But I'm gonna test to see if it works. Okay. So knowing the competition is key. You have to know who you're up against, what they're saying, how much they're spending too. So a lot of times, like clients will come to us, and I'll create a very, very simple graph for them with like little circles. So I'll like, here's the internet, and here's your competitor. Because I always ask the question, who's your competitor? And there's their bubble. Boom, right? And here's this other one, little bit smaller, and you're like a little dot. Sometimes it's not like that, but at least I say, hey, here's the marketplace. This is money. There's $1 billion industry you're in. Here's your bubble, and here's their bubble. Okay. The idea is to get to that size bubble, but to do it in a very smart way by testing. But if you don't know where their presence is on the internet, I'll give you a prime example. There's countless times where our clients will say, there's about 12 directories that are free that you could be on, that your competitors are on in your category, even down to your geographical location and specialty. That's free. All you have to do is be on it. There's also a couple memberships in your industry. Did you know about this one and this one? Oh, I didn't know about that. It's $25 to join a month. Your competitors are there. So knowing the intricate details of where they are, where they're seen, because where they're seen and you're not, obviously they're getting business. They're getting business. So as a small business or medium-sized business, you might say, well, how do I find that out? How do I do that? Well, there's a couple ways. Okay. One is there are some tools that are free. One's called SpyFu, and I call it Spy FU because it's kind of like that, right? It's like Spy FU. If you put in your URLs of your competitors, the free version of SpyFu will tell you kind of where they're advertising, what they're saying, what their ads are, how are they positioning themselves, their headlines, their call to actions, right? Their sweet sauce, their copy, it's there, right? So that's just one of the tools. And of course, the other is obviously just Googling, your competitor's name to see where they are on the internet. They might be and you're guaranteed, everyone that's listening, you're going to find places that your competitors are that you're not going to be like, oh my God, I'm not there. And it cost me like nothing to be there. So knowledge is king, knowledge is power, right? But you have to be smart enough to go see it in front of you. Okay, so those are two ends of the spectrum that I really want everybody listening and watching to do, like today, right now.
I love that. It is some advice that I haven't previously heard, which means a lot of people are probably not doing it because I have a lot of conversations about business and marketing.
Yes.
So here we have some real, tangible actions that people can implement. And now I know that people listening, even the ones who are thinking to themselves, that is a really great idea, also are saying to themselves, and I know I'm not going to do it. Talk about
Mm,
the mindset, because I'm
absolutely.
sure you bump into this quite a bit with clients.
I do.
People get sort of stubborn and stuck in their ways, and they have some limiting beliefs. What are these what are these things that you're seeing with your clients? How are your clients getting in their own way?
I think they're getting their way because they're not making decisions based on data. They're making decisions based on how they work or how they've dealt with things in the past, what they've known before, what the company does. So I'm a true believer in, I'm so against, I should say, so against decisions that are made without data. So I gave you some real world examples of data. If you make decisions without data, you're marketing with guesswork. Guesswork doesn't work. You know what guesswork does, Alicia? Guesswork burns your money, right? And if you're working for a corporation, if you're listening, your boss is going to be like, you're burning all of this money because he's going to be looking, or she will be looking at the numbers. Hey, you spent 10 grand on marketing this quarter. What do we make? Zero, nothing. Why? Because decisions are being made without data. Like I just talked about reverse engineering the competitors as one example. Another example of just another decision making with data is there's free tools where the keywords of which people find you for your services or products, right? Are there's search volumes on Google, right? There's search volumes attached to all of those. So making those decisions on data is finding those keywords. You might be like, wow, there's 1,000 people searching a month for this, but I didn't know that. So I think that is a hurdle, I guess, that is more on a personal level, maybe for somebody, maybe getting in the way of themselves for one reason or another. But data is data, right? Information is information. And I think people have to have the mindset that they have to make the decisions based on the data. Now, the question is, how do I motivate myself to do this? Okay, right? Okay. So it's best to work with, let me give you an example. I love working with companies, they could be big or small, it doesn't matter, that I always tell them, hey, listen, start out with something small, just like tiny, because I know that I'm going to grow their business, right? I know I'm going to grow their business. So I would say align themselves with somebody that has the mindset that they don't want to grab all your money. In fact, they don't care about it. Like I don't care about making money yet, right? I know eventually down the road is, but for at least for me, it's more gratifying to be able to grow something. And I don't care if they're small or medium or large, it doesn't matter, because if I grow, they're going to reinvest and they're going to keep reinvesting and reinvesting because I know, because I did it. I did it. And I get a lot of, I love doing that for people, to be honest with you. And for me, Alicia, it's kind of like I've done well, and it's kind of giving back, paying forward a little bit. So, and a lot of times I'll just talk to people for hours just to help them, and I don't care. Like, listen, I can throw on a consulting fee and have tick 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 like a lawyer, but I'm like, nah, whatever. At the end of the day, I feel good. I help somebody. You know what? At the end of the day, maybe that person will tell me about someone else who will hire me that maybe works at, I don't know, some other company that hires us. So I think to your question, I think, well, I know that people, if they're in their own way, you kind of know you're in your way. You have to work with somebody that is going to kind of take your hand and kind of take you along on a baby step journey. Marketing is about baby step journeys, right? I would run from anyone that wants to, again, just be like, you know what? Well, our minimum retainer is 10,000 a month, and we're going to take all your money. We're going to go it and churn and burn. in my industry, agencies go to clients like water. Like it's just this huge revolving door. It's not with us. And I think that's kind of the mindset is it's like that money grab. So to answer your question, so you, whoever's listening, you have to align yourself with someone that is going to take baby steps with you, right? Hold your hand, show you ROI, and then is going to help you grow from that. And if you can't do it yourself, don't hold yourself back. Let yourself succeed through someone else that is going to do it for you.
You've seeded in some incredible wisdom and really valuable tips and strategies. And there's probably some people listening who are thinking to themselves, I need him. So how can our listeners connect with you?
Oh, absolutely. They can email me directly. My email is Ken, period, Braun, like the shaver, loungelizard.com. Don't put those two Z's. It's only one in lizard. I don't know why people Z's. So it's ken.braun at loungelizard.com. You can just email me directly. That's probably the best way to, to get in touch with me, subject line podcast.
Awesome.
Or, yeah, thank you so much for that.
Well, I want to thank you for being with us, sharing some really, really valuable information that people can actually put into practice. It has been a very good conversation.
Thank you. It was such a pleasure. And I really hope that whoever's listening gets some value out of this and that I've helped them take the next step in growing their business.
I'm sure you have. And thank you to all of our listeners. You know, we're doing this for you. If you haven't already subscribed, make sure you do so. And until next time, we'll see you in the next episode.